was a California August in '82 when my mother gave birth to the Spam Tech crew. 13 years later had me looking at Linux. Programming made me stronger like Papa the Spinach. Now, people know that a DG carry weapons, but if that weapon is a nest, you step in. We finish Contra with only one life. Finish Metal Gear 2 using only a knife. Right, people might think that we're frontin', then they see all the news online that I'm putting. My rhymes flow just like my code, even though my source is owned by Skull. What about my Indian? I keep it low. See me on Gunbound, call me pro. I'm a certified legend, but I'm still your bro. This is a PSA, boy, the more you know. No.
I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spam. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spam.
I said my heart's wide open, goatsy, and my windows min like Ho Chi. I'm just another nerd, but I rap about it. Shit talk on the net, then I laugh about it. I've been caught slipping like the Star Wars kid when I'm on eBay sniping a bid. Catch me on a webcam like Numa Numa. See me at the club and I'm rocking Puma. Another net legend if you see me yodel. Spit a little something that's anecdotal. Tell me about the time the E-bombs world stole your chop like I stole your girl. Catch me on Gen May, not something awful. Low tax would ban me, raffle. I'm a certified legend, but I'm still your bro. This is a PSA, boy, the more you know.
I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spam. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spams. Yeah. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spam. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spams. Yeah.
Cause I brought so many geeky films, games, and TV shows. Maybe if we're lucky, the weather exposed the Amico. Hey, get out of my way. This season using hot takes, so you might as well stay. It's time to listen to the geeking away.
It was a California August in '82 when my mother gave birth to the Spam Tech crew. 13 years later had me looking at Linux. Programming made me stronger like Papa the Spinach. Now, people know that a DG carry weapons, but if that weapon is a nest, you step in. We finish Contra with only one life. Finish Metal Gear 2 using only a knife. Right, people might think that we're frontin', then they see all the news online that I'm putting. My rhymes flow just like my code, even though my source is owned by Skull. What about my Indian? I keep it low. See me on Gunbound, call me pro. I'm a certified legend, but I'm still your bro. This is a PSA, boy, the more you know. No.
I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spam. I'm a legend everywhere that I go. Every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spam.
I said my heart's wide open, goatsy, and my windows min like Ho Chi. I'm just another nerd, but I rap about it. Shit talk on the net, then I laugh about it. I've been caught slipping like the Star Wars kid when I'm on eBay sniping a bid. Catch me on a webcam like Numa. See me at the club and I'm rocking Puma. Another net legend if you see me yodel. Spit a little something that's anecdotal.
What's up, meatbags? It's the often imitated, never duplicated Tony TGG. Had a little technical difficulties here, but we're starting. We're back. We're live and in full effect. Once again, going solo. Still looking for a new team. You know, I want to get a dedicated geek getaway squad. People that I can trust. People I can count on to be here week in and week out. You know, we had to weed out some of the weaker members. But I'm here, and we got lots to talk about. Jam De Los Santos says, what's the topic for today? Rexer, PM Ferreira, Amico. We got several topics. We're going to be talking about censorship of Skullgirls, what's going on with that. Atari and Polymega, the guys behind Polymega, getting together. Baldur's Gate 3 allows you to have sex with a bear, and I'm not talking about a big, hairy gay guy. No, I'm talking about full grizzly on human sexual relations. Sega decided that they're going to pull back from the blockchain because, you know, crypto's still going down. Still bad time to be into crypto. And I'm glad I got out while I did. We're going to talk about why games media keeps getting laid off. Of course, we got some leaks about the Switch 2. You know, the infamous Switch 2. We got leaks about a PS5 Pro. And we got a little bit of Intellivision stuff to talk about. Something about a lawsuit for Tommy Tallarico. You know, some such thing like that. So we got quite a lot of things to talk about. Luke says you can't trust people here. Sometimes. Yeah, you know, it's hard. It's hard to trust people. But, you know, people who are willing to work for free $3.99, that's the thing, right? We don't make that much money. We're not rolling in the dough here at the Geek Getaway. We can't pay minimum wage. We can get you a Slurpee every once in a while, but that's about it. Maybe some boba tea. I don't partake myself, but others do. But welcome. Welcome to everybody who's going to surely file in later. Damn those technical difficulties. Yeah, Finbar. Only, you know, people wouldn't DM me like 2 minutes before we go live. But it is what it is. Did Baldur's Gate 3 come out of early access? No, it didn't. Not yet. It's on its way. Like I said, lots to talk about. And of course, the first thing we want to talk about is how my week has been. Because, man, oh man, has it been quite the week, quite the fiasco. Already off to a bad start with July. I said I was going to do daily uploads. You know, it's going to have shorts. It's going to do all the things that I said I was going to do. I haven't really accomplished much of any of them. Right? I do blame some of it on the holiday, 4th of July weekend. I was busy, was doing things. So let's pretend like that's the reason why I haven't got nothing done this week. Right, so we'll just pretend like next week is the start of the new era, right? The daily videos and all that. I did record a anime hour with Bianca Thursday. The idea is I'm going to record on Thursday with Bianca, and then I'm going to edit in clips from the shows we're talking about into the videos so you have some visual representation of what we're talking about. And that took a lot longer than I thought it was going to take. I was supposed to get that up Friday, but then I got busy. And then I was going to get up today, but then I got up late. So Sunday, it's looking like Sunday is going to be when this first episode of the new recorded anime hour goes up. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. But then from now on, it should go up probably Friday. Like I said, I'm going to record on Thursday night, listen to it back. That's the problem, is I have to listen to it back so I know when we talk about the things, and I can get clips to go with what we talk about, because nothing is planned, right? Nothing is scripted. We just go out there and say the things. And now I have to go out there, say the things, listen to it back, and get clips to go along with the things that we said. Very time consuming. I didn't realize it. You were running a work order schedule. It's good to settle for middle ground. Well, thank you, Haunted. I was trying. Did you hear about PM Ferreira? That guy harasses people and stalks women. I thought he was a harmless Amico fan. I didn't know the guy was so dangerous. I don't think he's dangerous necessarily. I think he's just odd. He has a brain that doesn't quite work right. He processes information in a different manner. He doesn't understand certain things, certain social cues he misses. And so some of the things he does can come off as strange or weird to normal people, right? Normal people, they don't understand that. What's the word I'm looking? I'm trying to put this in a nice phrase, but people who have brains that work differently, like PM Ferreira, sometimes they get these obsessions. They fixate on things, and that's his problem, right? In his brain, it's what he's doing is okay. The things that he's doing work. They follow a logic in his brain, but it's a logic that our brains and other people's brains don't get. So I'll give you a free membership to my OnlyFans if I can join the team. Well, I mean, are your OnlyFans content spicy? Is it better than Saggy's Fansly? Because if it's not, I'm gonna have to pass, Luke. I'm gonna have to pass. Goose and Mustard Man posted videos about him. Yeah, I saw those. Like I said, his brain works differently. There's several people in the Amico community or Amico adjacent community that have different working brains, right? And like I said, for certain people, it's hard to understand. It's hard to comprehend how they would behave or why they would behave that way. And what's best is to just kind of ignore those people or ignore those parts of it. So like I said, people are thinking like they got gotchas on PM, but it's not really gotchas because, again, brain work different. So he's not going to acknowledge it as a gotcha. He's not going, in his brain, it works. It's logical. It makes sense why he does the things he does. And I think that's all I'm going to say about that. You could say autism. You're allowed. You're autistic, remember? Yeah, but some people don't like me saying that. When you're on the higher end of functionality, people on the lower end of functionality get mad. It's like autism gatekeeping. So it's weird. It's weird. I've had people demand to see like test results and like doctor's notes and stuff, and it's weird. It's weird. But anyway, the week has been weird. If you've checked out my shorts tab, you'll notice that I did pick up some monsters for this weekend. So yeah, I'm back to drinking monsters. I needed them. I need my monsters, and I'll tell you why. Because Friday, I woke up at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, and most people are probably like, "Oh, that's a reasonable time, waking up at 7 o'clock." You get ready, you go to work. Except I start work at 4 o'clock. Now, normally, I don't stroll into work till about 6, right? Just because that's the way I have it arranged. I have it arranged that around 6 o'clock is when I go into work. So I'm always an hour late. And my job knows this. They understand this. They accept this, that I'm always an hour late. Okay. However, because I woke up at 7 o'clock, I didn't leave my house till about 7:20. I didn't roll into work till about 8:15. I was 3 hours and 15 minutes later than normal, which means I was 4 hours and 15 minutes late for work on Friday. We got out at 12. So I worked a grand total of 3 hours and 45 minutes, minus a break. So 3.5 hours. I did 3.5 hours of work on Friday. Needless to say, that's not a sustainable model for my life, right? I need to work a little bit more than that. I need to earn a little bit more money than 3.5 hours a day. So I need my monsters because they help me go to sleep and they help me wake up on time. Test results, they just need to watch your live streams, especially the 10-hour ones. It's yeah. I do need to start working out again. It's tough. It's rough. Work, single father, doing YouTube, looking things up for YouTube, playing video games. It's hard to fit that workout in there. I'm going to try, though. I'm going to try. Says, how can Tony be autistic? If you compare him and PM, it's miles apart. PM is obvious. Tony isn't. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's a spectrum. It's a spectrum, right? And there's people that land on various points of the spectrum. Okay. And people who have mild autism aren't as noticeable as people who have severe autism. Okay. So if you have severe autism, you're like a PM Ferreira, it's very noticeable. If you have mild autism, people won't notice it as much, especially because you guys, here's the thing, you guys are exposed to me for maybe, like an hour on a live stream, and then you get, 10, 15-minute videos here and there. And you don't live with me. You don't see me on a daily basis. I can hold it together long enough to sort of mask some of the things that others see on a daily basis that are like, yeah, that's pretty messed up. So there's that, right? But if you do, like Finbar says, if you do notice, there are certain things, certain behaviors, certain patterns that I just can't shake. I get really agitated at certain things. I'm very stubborn and argumentative over other things. So it's there. If you know what to look for, you'll find it, is what I'm saying. You addicted. I am addicted. My body is used to it. Damn, Extra Hero says I just got fired for that reason. Sucks. Damn, dude. Hopefully you get a new job. I am lucky because where I work, I am the only one who knows how to run the most expensive piece of machinery there. It has a highly, it's highly needed for what we do. I'm trying to talk in very vague terms because technically I'm not allowed to talk about what I do because then the government will come and like put me in jail for 10 years. But yeah, so it's a very expensive machine. It has a highly advanced computer system, an operating system that no one else knows how to run or keep running if it breaks down. And the spot that I work, the area that I do, the things I take care of, normally it takes two people to do it. But I'm able to do the work of two people because I'm just that good at what I do. So I'm saving the company like, $30,000, $40,000 a year on just another employee, just for being there. So they're like, it's okay. You could be late. Don't worry about it. My boss actually, like when I picked up the phone, because I got up at 7 and I was like, oh shit, 7 o'clock. I picked up my phone and I called work and I'm like, hey, I just woke up. And my boss is like, what? I said, yeah, I just woke up. He goes, oh, well, are you coming in? I said, well, yeah, don't worry. I'm out the door right now. And my boss starts laughing. He says, yeah, don't worry about it. Just, when you get here, you get here. I'm like, okay, cool. Now the coworkers, they all gave me shit for being late, but the bosses, nah, they don't care. Most geniuses have mild autism. Tony has mild autism, therefore Tony is a genius. I actually am certified genius. I have a genius level IQ. So it is what it is. Tony, we know you work the pancakes and egg station. I do, but they are highly classified pancakes and eggs. So I get that threat of government jailing me, and my job too sucks balls. Yeah, it does. And mine's less of a government job. It's just what I do because of all the regulations and stuff in my job and the area I work, and they're like afraid of like Chinese spies. And it's so weird because if you knew what I did, and then I was like, if I told you like the way they talk to us, it'd be weird. Hi, Saggy. I know we fighting. You sent me like 100 fucking Discord messages right before I went on the air, and I can't answer any of them. I know you're mad at me. I said a thing. I said a thing that you just didn't like. I went to that person's. Saggy's mad, so it's not really an area I talk about. But since Saggy's here, I will address this. A Twitter user by the name of Comic Book Fan Marie. She apparently has been getting people harassing her, bothering her, sending her bad messages. And so in the, I think it was yesterday, she did a thread, Comic Lover Marie, there you go. And she left a thread that basically said, hey, if you're reading this, I'm either dead or in the hospital getting help for my mental health. And there's a long thread about, apologies and shits that happened and yada, yada, yada. Saggy did a stream on it. She's very upset. Apparently, that Umbrella guys is saying it was Ezra Miller fans that were messing with her. Saggy's not Ezra Miller fans. I seen a thread on Reddit about it yesterday, and I kind of just glanced over it because I was like, whatever. But when Saggy was streaming, she was talking about it, and she was yelling. She was doing her Saggy stuff. And I went to the lady's Twitter account because I wanted to see, maybe there was an update. And it says, it has the little Twitter thing, and it says, these other people that are following this account, right? And Saggy was not one of the people listed to be following this account. So I went into Saggy's live stream as I was listening. Saggy was complaining about people using this lady's death and, grandstanding and grave standing and possible grave standing because we don't even know she's dead. And that they don't really care about her. And I'm like, all I said was, hey, Saggy, you don't even follow her, right? Like, you're just like, if they didn't mention Ezra Miller, no, because I used to follow her. Okay, you used to follow her, but I don't know that, right? Let's call a spade, okay, Saggy? If they didn't mention Ezra Miller, if Tug and them never mentioned Ezra Miller fans or Ezra Miller was not involved in this, would you have been making that stream? Would you have been talking about this lady and her possible suicide? Come on. That's all. That's the only point I was trying to make. Right? So, I know you have these strong opinions, and sometimes your strong opinions, Saggy. I've been talking about it today. I don't follow you that closely. But you yelling and screaming, carrying on, hooting and hollering. Come on. It seems performative sometimes, right? It's hard to tell when Saggy's being genuine and being performative. Yeah, also I got autism, so leave me alone, Saggy. Sometimes I don't understand things right. But that's why me and Saggy are fighting. We're fighting now. We'll be better by the end of the day, hopefully. But I got to read all 47 messages that Saggy has sent me. I got mad because everyone was talking about her like, A, they know she is dead. B, people pointing fingers at the wrong people and not even knowing what the fuck happened. All I'm saying is it's really weird it seems to me, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it's just my brain not understanding things, but who leaves a suicide note on Twitter, right? Like, was she terminally online, right? That's the thing. I don't know this person. I didn't follow this person. So if this person was like terminally online, then I guess it makes sense that they left a suicide note on Twitter. But it feels like remember when the farms, when Kiwi Farms was blamed for that one guy being dead. Who the hell was it? Come on, you remember that one retro gaming guy? Fuck. Basically, they said that Kiwi Farms doxed this guy and harassed him, and then that guy's dead. And then there was people coming out with like trying to prove that he was alive and all that shit. It's like no one's ever gonna know. She could have, put this note out on Twitter and then just walked away and not, how these people are gonna feel bad that they messed with me because now I'm dead. But really, she's not. She's just like on a new account or something, right? You don't know. You really don't know. In the age of social media and the age of people doing shit for attention, it's really hard to like go, oh yeah, this person on Twitter saying they're gonna top themselves is real. Tony and Saggy need to just fuck and get it over with. Let's be honest, that's where it's going anyway. I don't know. I heard Saggy's single now. Little Birdie told me Saggy's trying to. God damn, my main account keeps saying error. Oof. I heard Saggy's trying to trade up. She wants a sugar daddy with more money. I was having that trouble the other day. I think sometimes if you put certain things, certain words, YouTube gets mad and they're like, no, we don't want you to do that. Yeah, she talked about her mental health. Yeah, I understand that. I 100% completely understand that, but I also understand that sometimes people are just like, hey, I'll do this thing for attention, or hey, I'll do this thing to get people mad. No, I ain't looking for a sugar daddy. You liar. And Tony's internet nerd detectives strikes again. Always causing trouble. Either way, I hope this young woman person is alive and well. Not much more I can say about it because, like I said, I didn't know this person. I take these posts seriously, though I'm actually worried about the girl. I understand that. I understand that. That train of thought and that way of thinking. I get it. I get that you're like that. But I'm not. I can't. Like, if I did, like, you don't understand, Sagi. There's so many people who have suicide baited me, right? That I'm very cynical. Literally, my ex-wife, right after I left my ex-wife, she called me up one night and she's like, why don't you, you want to come over, Tony? Why don't you come over? And I go, no, I don't want to come over. I don't want to deal with you. I don't like you. I don't love you. I don't want to have anything to do with you. She goes, no. Why don't you come over and we could fool around? You want to come over and fool around, Tony? I said, no. I said, what part of me divorcing you do you not understand? She goes, well, if you don't come over, I'm not going to be here in the morning. I will be dead. And I said, well, thank you. That'll make my life a lot easier. Then I hung up the phone. And I went to bed. I slept peaceful like a baby. Unfortunately for me, she did not take her life. So, win some, you lose some. But I've had other people that have done that, and it's just weird. 56K is right. You can't save them all, Saggy. The internet is a big place. Big place. They would have to take the bus to the. What are you talking about? I could take Uber. I got Ubers. When I was in Philadelphia, I Ubered everywhere. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. She's in, Tony. She's getting a lift over the years. Hell yeah. All right. Ludo says, I think I got the same autism as Tony. It happens. But that's a horrible story. But it's the truth. you know. Tony's an Uber guy and Saggy's a Lyft girl. This ain't going well. Yeah. It is what it is. I only used Uber. I never used Uber and I never used Lyft before. But when I was in Philly, I like had no choice because I wasn't actually in Philadelphia proper. I was in like Phoenixville. So Saggy says, I mean, I am the only one, her, maybe, who knows what Tony looks like. So actually, no, Finbar knows what I look like. Finbar is here. He knows what I look like. If Retro Bro is lurking, he knows what I look like. Mad Max knows what I look like. Rhea knows what I look like. Who else might be here that knows what I look like? What the hell is his name? Damn it. Come on. He was the other guy on the show. Fuck. How do I forget the people who used to be on this show? Blinded. If Blinded's lurking, he knows what I look like. So, yeah. No, you guys are missing out big time. Big time. Everybody is shocked. Well, because I am nothing like what people expect me to look like, I guess. It's really weird. See, exactly. I expected him to look different. Everyone expects me to be like this 400-pound, like neck beard, fedora wearing simp, but I'm not, unfortunately. I did post a picture of my lower half below the neck and down on Twitter. So Tony looks like, what's his name? Like Luis Guzman, right? That's what everyone expects, but I don't. Bacon ice cream. If Bacon ice cream is lurking, he knows what I look like. Brett Weiss. Yeah, no offense, Tony. Yeah, I expect you to look. No, it's not. No offense taken. I know. No, Mad Max has not paid me. He has not paid me. So. Yeah, like I said, I get it. I don't show my face, so obviously people make the assumption like, oh, he doesn't show his face. He don't see anything. He's obviously this, big fat invalid, dying of diabetes. Okay. No, Saggy, he looks exactly like he described. Everybody else just assumed he was a fat ass because he never realized. Well, that's true. See, I am exactly as I described. The problem is none of you think that I'm being honest when I describe myself. I expect you to wear a MAGA hat. Not in this city. Not in this city. If I wore a MAGA hat, shit, I would make it to my job. I wouldn't. Do you have more chins than Bacon ice cream? No, I don't. I do not look like Dominic Mysterio. No. I look more like a young Eddie Guerrero. Don't let this distract you from the fact that Ray ran from Tony like Tommy ran from the furniture lawsuit. Speaking of the furniture lawsuit, it's good. It's a good segue because we are going to talk about that. I'm not even going to highlight that comment, Finbar. So no, I have a chin. And has a nice beard on it. It's not a double chin. It's just a regular chin. Which celebrity do you look like? When I was younger, and I don't see it, I honestly, I don't see it myself personally, but when I was younger, I was told that I look like Ralph Macchio. And I was like, no, I don't. I don't look nothing like the Karate Kid. But everyone used to be like, you look like the Karate Kid. And I'm like, no. So, Beefy Bite says I'm offended. I don't know. I'll send you a picture later, Beefy. I'll send you the picture. Don't worry. Not a beard that pretends to be a chin. No. It's an actual chin with a beard. Yeah. I am a moderately handsome fellow. I'm a solid 6 out of 10. 6.5 on a good day. If I clean myself up, maybe I could slide to like 6.75. But I don't have gray hair. I'm not balding. Like I said, I do have a beard and mustache, short hair. So, I'm getting brown now that the summer sun is out. I don't know what else to say. I thought you were black. I've had this comment a lot, especially in the old days. And they're like, yeah, well, when I first started mentioning, being Mexican and Latino and all that, I got a lot of, wait, you're not black? You're not? I'm like, no. Haunted says my beard has a beard again. I used to have to use my pocket knife scissors to excise the sub beard. That's fucked up. But no. Let me see real quick. I will because I'm feeling good. I'm feeling in a good mood today. Let me get this picture real quick. I will show you guys a picture of what I look like from the neck down. Tony is a black Caucasian Mexican. Confirmed. Let me see. I will send my buddy. Damn, all these messages from Saggy. Saggy be thirsty. I got 9 unread Discord messages from Saggy. The thirst is real. Ever since I showed Saggy what I look like, she's been a lot nicer to me. A lot nicer. It's weird. Weird how that works. Let me see. All right. Saggy says I was mad. I'm not mad no more. Yeah, because you looked at my picture again. You're like, oh, shit. You remembered what I look like. Tony, will you try to get Pat Contry to sign your shell at a future date? I would, but I don't think he's going to sign it after he sees Brett Weiss, because I got Retro Bro, Brett Weiss, and Mad Max signature on the shell. So I think the days of Pat signing it are over. I don't think even if he would change his mind and be like, you know what, I'll sign it after all. I think if we got to that point and he looked at it and he goes, oh shit, Retro Bro signature on there, Brett Weiss signature on there, I think he'll opt out, as it were. All right, because I'm in a generous mood, you guys can feast. There you go. This is what I look like. You don't get the head. You don't get the head. But that's what I look like. See, I'm normal looking dude. I'm not gigantically fat. I don't have huge man titties. You should get Larry to make a fake Pat signature. Oof. So there you go. Enjoy. Soak it all in. See, skinny. Tony dressing like D. Reed. That's how I dress. In this picture, I have, those are Dickies. It's hard to tell, but I have Dickies on. I do have, you could kind of tell, but I have a white, I was going to say Dega tee, but what do they call those? Wife beater. I have a white beater on underneath, and then I just wear t-shirts. I don't dress fancy. I don't need to dress fancy. I like to be comfortable. You can't see in the picture, obviously, but I am wearing Chuck Taylors. So there it is. All 12 of you lucky people. Yeah. Pro tip, if you're over 6 foot, dress fitted clothing. Yeah. I usually have to get the 2X T, the tall. Tony still dresses like he's a teen. I do. It's because that's what people buy me. I think that T-shirt that I'm wearing was bought by my mother for Christmas. I think that was a Christmas shirt. The stuff that I was wearing over in Philadelphia, Sidekick Max had bought me 2 of the shirts. This does work, Saggy. Does work. Beefy Bites, I feel blessed. Well, thank you, Beefy. Now we're all happy. We're all in on this. What I look like. Face reveal at 10K. Remember that. At 10K, you can see the frog face. Even Retro Bro, when I seen Retro Bro, he's shorter than I thought he was going to be. He says he's 5'8". I feel like he's like 5'7". Thanks, Beefy. Thanks. I seriously think Retro Bro's like 5'7" and a little bit, and he kind of rounds up. What happened to that segue into the court thing? It's coming. Yeah, Retro Bro shorter than I thought too. The funniest thing is we're there, right? Me and Sidekick Max are at too many games, and we're walking around, and Retro Bro texts me. He's like, "I'm on my way. I'm gonna be there, right?" I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then it's like an hour later, I'm like, "Dude, are you here yet?" He's like, "Oh, I haven't left my house yet." I'm like, "Fuck, why did you text me? You're on your way. You haven't left your house yet. Whatever, okay." And then like another hour, I'm like, where the hell are you? He's like, "Oh, I'm just getting there. Right? Okay." And I think it was like another 45 minutes. I'm like, "Dude, I can't find you. Where the fuck are you?" He goes, "Well, I'm up front. With Mad Max." And while we were walking around looking, I told Sidekick Max, I said, we're looking for Retro Bro. You know what he looks like? He's like, no, what does he look? I'm like Retro Bro. He's big, muscular guy. He's probably like the most muscular guy here, right? Because we're at a nerd convention. I'm like, just the out of shape nerds. Like, so Retro Bro is probably gonna be the biggest guy here, right? And I'm saying this like muscle wise, but Sidekick Max misunderstands. So when we see Retro Bro, he's like, damn, he goes, that guy wasn't the biggest guy here. He's short as fuck. Sidekick Max was taller than Retro Bro. So you can alternately pay me 10K and I'll show you Tony's face. It's not worth 10K. It's worth way more than 10K. Retro late. Well, you're late, Tommy. I guess Tommy Amico missed. You missed the photo. I showed myself, Tommy. He looks better in person. He does look a bit different in person than on cam. He does. Same thing with Tony from Hack the Movies. For some reason, I thought Tony from Hack the Movies was taller. But I guess he sits on like a high stool on his set. So when I met him, he was a lot shorter than I thought he was going to be. And I tweeted it out, and he was all like, "What the fuck?" Like, no, you know. Retro Bro can pick my fat ass up, so trust me, he's strong. Nah, I don't know how much you weigh, Saggy. You can't weigh more than 250. I mean, it's not that hard to pick up somebody who weighs like 250. I mean, I could pick up someone that weighs that. So, all right. Let's transition to the lawsuit because I think we've wasted enough time. More than enough time, probably. Talking about this bullshit. Let's get to the Intellivision Amico discussion because that's what everybody wants to hear. Anyway, at the time we met, I was at least 180. Oh, that's nothing. 180? Shit. I can bench 180. All that didn't matter in the end for Tony. Rhea still curved him like Thanksgiving turkey. I think Rhea doesn't like me because of the whole retro complex thing. So it is what it is. Saggy does have the hots for bro. It's confirmed. All right. Let's see. We got the Amore Furniture lawsuit update. Tommy wants mediation, settlement conference, or jury trial. Amore disagrees. I want this jury trial. Give us a jury trial. I want them to call all the shills to the stand. Come on. We can do it. It is what it is. Just some no habla housekeeper. That's what I'm saying. That tweet's still up. You can still find that on my Twitter. I don't take things down. But all right, let's see what's going on here. So this was submitted by Paraclaw. We didn't cover it. We were going to cover it on the Amico Home Show, but that got canceled, and we don't do that no more. So let's cover it now. So it says this week, both sides filed a basic case management statement in preparation for their July 13th hearing. So that's just in 5 days, in 5 little days. That hearing will be conducted over the telephone. Lucky time. Yeah. Now, we're not going to look at the documents because the documents have a lot of names and addresses and stuff that we don't want to expose here. I can make you mad again. Don't make Saggy mad. Don't make you mad. So Tommy's side, Tommy still, quote, denies any and all liability. He's willing to complete mediation and a settlement conference, e.g. in hopes of talking them down to a lesser amount. Alternatively, he requested a jury trial within 12 months, including discovery and deposition, estimated 4 to 5 day trial. Tommy wants a 4 to 5 day trial. Where he thinks he can convince a jury of his peers that he does not owe money to a company in which he signed paperwork saying that if Intellivision didn't pay, that he would owe them money. You can't make this up. I don't know if Tommy's expecting to wow the jury with his 7 world records from Guinness. Maybe Tommy thinks that his celebrity status, he'll let him know that he's Steven Tyler's cousin, and the jury will roll over. I would love though to be in there. I want this to go to jury. That a few days is all he needs. He doesn't lose. Yeah, I want this to go to trial because when they pick the jury, right? I don't know if anyone's ever been to court where they're picking jury and they ask you questions, and they want to see who disqualifies themselves from being on the jury. The lawyers get to weed out some of the people. I would love to be there and for people to be like, I've watched it. Like, could you imagine Tommy's lawyer being like, has anybody here watched the H Bomber guy video? Okay, you guys are disqualified. We can't have any of those people on the jury. Have any of you guys watched the DJ Slopes Amico video? Okay, you guys can't. You're disqualified. We can't have those people there. Why doesn't Tommy just pay the debt from the furniture company? Because he doesn't want to. I'm sure with all the stuff in Tommy's house, with his house, I'm sure he can get the money together to pay it. But he doesn't want to. He doesn't feel he should have to. I don't think he's broke. He's not as wealthy as he claims to be, but I don't think he's broke. Tommy could bring the Dalai Lama as a character witness. Yeah. We would all love this to go to a jury. It would be hilarious. It would. Could you imagine? He wants a 4 to 5 day trial. So he probably wants to call in witnesses. It's like, coming to the stand, DJC Game Studios. DJC, can you tell us why Tommy's great? Well, Tommy never loses. Tommy, he's never lost in his career before. Are any of you gaming racist? Yeah, they'll ask that question. Which one of you own a Switch? We don't want none of you porn lovers on the jury. This is true. He's probably asset rich, cash poor. Yeah, I can believe that. Tommy has worked on hundreds of games and can easily do more concerts to raise money. Yeah, but we don't know how much money he's actually making, right? We don't know how much he's paying for licensing to these songs. We don't know how much he's diverting. Remember, Tommy, if Tommy's smart, and Tommy's not really smart, but if he has a smart friend, the video games live money is probably held in a separate account under Video Games Live, right? So he can pay different taxes on it as a business. He's not diverting it to his personal finances. There's all sort of loopholes and legal avenues to move money around. Yeah, plus the guitar solos, and he's got to pay all those royalty fees to Joey. Remember, It's always Joey. It's always Joey. All right. It says insurance agency USLI, United States Liability Insurance Group, notes reservations of its rights, meaning it has the right to deny coverage of paying the amount owed to Amor on behalf of Intellivision Tommy, pending the case's outcome and the insurer's investigation of the claims and circumstances. Oof. So even the insurance that they got on the furniture, they might be like, "Hey, dude, you lied, so we're not going to pay off this." All right. So Amor. I don't know how to pronounce this. Their side of the story is statement of case. Plaintiff and defendants entered into an equipment financing agreement wherein plaintiff agreed to finance certain equipment to defendants. Plaintiff is seeking damages in the principal sum of $110,252.60 plus interest, late charges, attorney fees, and cost. Ouch. They requested a one-day non-jury trial. They're not willing to engage in mediation or a settlement conference. They plan to file a motion for summary judgment. This motion will argue that there are no disputable material facts about the claims and no jury trial could change this. If the court grants it, then they will win by default. Tommy's side can also file a counter motion. The judge will decide. Summary judgments are pretty common in civil cases involving debt collectors and ironclad paper trail contracts. So I'm sure by next week, Paraclaw will have an update. And I'm sure that update's going to say Tommy has lost. Tommy owes a bunch of money. Fufi Nono says he'll call Shigeru Miyamoto to the stand and wow them with Metro and Wii development facts. He's going to get Rab on the stand to filibuster. That's what it is. Once Rab starts talking, the jury will be like, look, just go. Just leave. We're sorry. Just make him stop talking. So Tommy Tallarico lawsuit update, July 13th, 5 days from now. We're going to know. So what happens if Tommy loses? Will he go to jail? Not right away. And what will happen is they'll find Tommy liable for the money, and then the court will order a payment plan or something along those lines in order to have the debt collected, right? Because right now they're just deciding who owes the debt. Then they actually have to collect it, right? So they'll be like, all right, Tommy, you have to pay by this date, or you have to pay this amount every month until it's paid off, or, they might, if Tommy's like, well, I got no money. If Tommy goes, I have no cash and I got no money in my bank. Well, then the court might say, well, we're ordering you to hold an auction of valuable items, or, your house or your car or something. You have to sell something in order to make the money. Now, if Tommy goes against court orders, if they order him to pay and he doesn't pay, or if Tommy throws a fit inside court and he gets a, what the hell do they call that? He's found in contempt of court, or he's found of violating court orders, then he can go to jail. But that's way off. So it's probably not going to happen. Forever, Rab will be doing the world's longest eulogy. Oof. What's up, Moonsoon? So nothing's going to happen. Nothing quickly. He'll have to sell his backyard dinosaur statue. Yeah. He'll put the Amico dev kits on eBay, and he'll get that money back. What did Smash JT say? Smash JT said, he'll get WADA to grade the only Amico dev unit in the wild, and it'll make millions of dollars. It'll sell for millions because, everybody's interested in this piece of gaming history. I don't know. Sometimes I think Smash isn't an idiot, and then he says things like WADA graded Intellivision Amico dev unit, and I'm like, Smash an idiot. Tommy, the judge at my trial is a good friend of mine. Yeah, it's a good friend of mine. He's good friends with all the jury. That's how he'll get out. He wants a jury trial, and then they're like, we can't get any jury to be on to be there because Tommy's good friends with everybody in the state of California. Tommy has no peers. How can Tommy have a jury of his peers if Tommy is on a level above everybody? He's fucking peerless. Like, sorry, you're not good enough to judge Tommy. Right? Maybe that's the angle he's going for. He'll have to get like famous people. You need to get famous people. Those are my peers. These common folk, they're no good. No good. All right. Moving on to something a little more. A little interesting. Now, Skullgirls censoring underage girls and Nazi imagery shouldn't be a big deal. There are far more important things to complain about. First off, we love the gamer for all their bad takes. And this one is a huge bad take. Huge bad take. First off, I don't know nothing about no underage girls. I think the drawings in Skullgirls, they were a little fan servicey, and there was Nazi-esque imagery. The bad guys, as you can see, they're wearing red armbands with images, but they weren't Nazi images. They were, Nazi-esque. The bad guys were bad guys. But I'm 100% against the censorship. 100%. And when we get into the article, I'll tell you why I think this sets a hugely bad precedence. I think the people in charge of Skullgirls should not be allowed to have done this. And you probably don't even know what Skullgirls is. Let's face it, right? And Kotaku is still far worse. Possibly. They're losing a lot of their writers. I think Luke Plunkett just left Kotaku. All right, so it says, Skullgirls launched over a decade ago, and during its lifetime, it has built a huge audience of fans thanks to its creative character designs, liberal fan service, and sharp combat mechanics. It's a great game and has maintained a niche in the fighting genre for very good reason. But like all modern media, there are parts of it bound to shift and change over time. No, I reject this idea wholeheartedly. I've always been against censoring the past. I've always been against censoring things for modern sensibilities because that's a slippery slope that I don't want to go down. We censor this today, and then tomorrow we're going to say, well, we can't show legs, and then, oh, her face is showing, and there shouldn't be women fighting, so let's censor that completely and make them all men. No. It's not a route I want to go down. But apparently the gamer's okay with this. And you should know this. Here's a thing that people don't know. Skullgirls, if you're familiar with Skullgirls at all, the artist who worked on Skullgirls, he was a porn artist, right? He did a porn parody of a character that caught the attention of Skullgirls because it was really popular and really well done. And then they hired him to be the artist for the game. But I agree with you. Fuck censorship. Yeah, always. 100%. Skullgirls tournaments always held in parking lots or bathroom. But it is what it is, right? Using the woman in distress image is insensitive but not illegal. Yeah. So at the end of last month, Reverge Labs surprised fans with a statement confirming it would be revising or removing certain visual elements of the game it felt didn't fall in line with modern sensibilities. This included sexualization of characters who were underage or heavily implied to be, and imagery that clearly looked in inspiration from real-life hate groups, read Nazis, without much room for interpretation. Okay, so here's the issue I have with this. Okay. If this company here, Reverge Labs, says, hey, you know what? We don't feel comfortable with the art in the game. We don't feel comfortable with this imagery that evokes Nazism. Going forward, we're no longer going to have these characters dressing a certain way. We're no longer going to have this imagery. We're no longer going to sexualize the characters in a certain way, right? I will 100% stand for that. I will 100% say, hey, they own the IP. It is within their rights and within their artistic freedoms to change and evolve the game as they see fit, right? Skullgirls 2 can have everybody wearing burqas, and I'll say, hey, that's their choice. Their game, their choice. However, this game, the game that they are changing, was already bought and paid for. Bought and paid for. People have been playing this game for years. I think it's 12 years. This game is 12 years old. People bought this game because of what it looked like, right? They said, hey, I like that imagery. Hey, I like the way those characters look. I like the fan service, whatever, right? They bought that. They paid for it. They received money from people for their game. You can't go back and change things that people own. Could you imagine if you bought a book, if you bought the Playboy, if you're buying Playboys, right, and you have a collection of Playboys at your house, and then Hugh Hefner's daughter showed up to your house and said, hey, bring out your collection of Playboys, and just ripped out all the nude women in your Playboy and said, hey, Playboy no longer believes in having nude women in their magazine, so we're going to go ahead and take all the nude women out of these old Playboys that you own. You wouldn't stand for that. You would say, fuck no, this is stupid. I own this. This is an item that I own. I bought this for a specific reason. It is mine. You cannot come into my house, take my property, and alter it in ways that I do not agree with, right? Yet somehow this company was able to do just that. Using updates, right? They forcibly changed the game that people bought, paid for, and owned. Says it's natural for the developer to address racially insensitive content packs and the treatment of underage characters like Philia, who are sexually harassed and exposed by luxurious men. But as expected, the news hasn't been met with the most positive reception. At the time of writing, Skullgirls still sits at a mostly negative review score on Steam. Good. While regular players have made it abundantly clear that they aren't happy with the game they paid for years ago suddenly being messed with. Yes, 100%. It's not even about what the content is, right? It's not about what the content's being changed. No one's even arguing over that. They're saying, hey, this should not be allowed because I own this. This is something I own. You can't change things that I own. Things like this. Look, this is the new image. We're not going to watch the entire video, but you can go to Censored Gaming on YouTube. The old image had a guy on the floor dead. Now they censored it by putting the two guys closer so you can't see the dead body. Really. Having been through all the changes to understand where all the outrage is coming from, I'm honestly a little stumped. The Nazi imagery attached to certain characters is very clear, with most of the changes coming down to the removal of red armbands or parts of uniforms which don't exactly give off the most progressive vibes. Who gives a fuck? I don't want progressive vibes. You stupid son of a bitch. Right? Tired of this shit. Tired. Leave things alone. Some people like fan service. Some people like non-progressive views. Some people are not the same. Right? If there were actual Nazis with a place in the narrative, instead of merely trying to ape the aesthetic, it'd be less problematic. Oh my God, this is the fucking stupidest thing I've ever read. They're literally saying that they would be okay if there were real Nazis in the game. But because these are not Nazis, but sort of look like Nazis, that's an issue. They're complaining about culturally appropriating Nazism. Tony must be new. GTA Rockstar did this with GTA on PC. I'm not new, but we're not talking about that now. And that's fucking. They shouldn't do that. Imagine you bought Playboy and later they shrink Pam's tits. You throw a shit fit. Hell yeah. Yeah. Hugh Hefner, daughter replaced my Playboys with nudes of PM Ferrara. Oof. This is why physical media is needed. Then they can't change it. Yes, I agree that is one of the benefits of physical media. But when we live in a world where digital media is taking over, it is inevitably going to replace physical media. We need to have this addressed. We need laws. And I'm going to say laws, definite laws. In place to basically say, hey, if you want to do this, if you want to change your game, right? If you say, hey, We're no longer comfortable with this being in the game. We want to send out a update that changes it, right? This should be optional. The law should basically be like, hey, if you're doing patches to fix problems, to fix bugs, that's allowed. Okay, that's okay. You can force those on a player base. But if you're doing patches to change, censor, alter your game in ways in which the player base might not agree with, that should be optional. They should have to opt in. That's kind of a no-no to change something just because times change. Shakes the King James Bible. Yeah, exactly. The Bible is one of the most changed things because of the times. It's so weird. I not to get religious and go into this weird tangent, but because you brought it up, Haunted, it's so weird to talk to religious people who, the Bible is supposed to be the Word of God, written by man, right? God is supposed to have entered man, and that guy wrote it down, God's words written through man's hand. Yet we've had several instances where the church has basically went, that doesn't fit no more. That's take that out of the Bible. That doesn't work no more. Those books, no good. Those books, they're good, right? So it's really weird when people talk about the Bible as the Word of God, and then they don't acknowledge the fact that we've altered, changed, and messed with it so many times over the years. So weird. But instead, Skullgirls is owning up to its inspiration and doing something about it. It cuts too close to the bone and isn't afraid to acknowledge that. So if you're mad about their nixing, perhaps you need to take a look at yourself in the mirror. Nazis are bad. Even if cute anime girls are dressed up as them trying to beat the shit out of each other. Other changes too make sense. No, none of these changes make sense. The changes that you're talking about does not make sense. The bad guys being dressed like bad guys makes sense. Could you imagine if they went back and all the copies of Raiders of the Lost Ark, like, boom, you can't have it no more. All the Nazis and Raiders of the Lost Ark, gone. We changed it. We got rid of all the Nazi symbolism. It's almost as bad as when E.T. Does anybody remember when Steven Spielberg went back and changed E.T. and got rid of all the guns? And they put walkie-talkies in the hands of all the agents. Remember how stupid that was? God is supposed to have entered man. I saw a video about something like that once. I never visited that site again. You got your fill. You only needed it once, huh? Philia, at least according to the official Wikia, is 16. Creepers would argue that this is legal in some countries, but jumping to that excuse only makes your true intentions obvious. She's a young character, and despite this, has a short skirt, large chest, and plump thighs, which are part of her body, only ever used for the purpose of sexualization. Oh my God. So a character that looks like a woman, looking like a woman is a problem now. So 16-year-olds, according to this author, should not wear short skirts. We should outlaw skirts on 16-year-olds. Also, 16-year-olds are banned from having a large chest. Sorry, ladies who develop early. Sorry, ladies who are on the bigger side. Can't have it. And plump thighs, that's a no-no. We're going to need you ladies to get on the exercise bike until you pass the legal age in which you are allowed, according to this writer, who's this? Jade King, at least according to Jade King, you are not allowed to possess any of these traits until you are of legal age. Now, I'm not arguing whether or not someone is sexualizing these people. That is never okay. It's never okay to sexualize people that are underage. However, to say that certain aspects of a character's femininity are just not allowed unless you're a certain age, that's just weird. I'm going to bury my VHS copies of Spaceballs from these censoring heathens. Yeah. The old Captain America and Bucky comics fought against Nazis, so are those deleted too? No, those are okay. because Nazis are bad. But the Captain America comics where he fought communists, those are the ones they're going to, because communists are good now, right? Communists are okay. The left loves communism. So the Captain America versus the communism comics, those will be censored. Because, woke ideology. To recognize how doing this to a young female character is wrong and seeking to address it isn't a bad thing. And it's not like fans haven't been making lewd fan art of her for years anyway. That's a whole nother issue. The internet has rules. There are rules on the internet. One of the rules is if something exists, there will be porn of it. Hands down, point blank, period. Everything and anything you can think of, there is porn of it on the internet. That's just the way it is. I think at one point someone read /fiction about Tommy Tallarico, right? Remember that? Go on YouTube. I think it's like Tommy Tallarico fan fiction. It's a thing, right? I remember we were making fun of it. It was like 2 years ago when someone stumbled on it and posted it on Reddit. It's like anything and everything that exists in life, there's porn of it. A deep fake is a thing. First thing people did with AI was porn. Exactly. I mean, all those cave drawings of people, they're all naked. It's probably true. I can't verify this 100%, but I'm pretty sure that most of those cave drawings are of naked people. If you're that outraged, don't play Skullgirls anymore and take your business elsewhere. Dipshit, and you are a dipshit for writing that, they took their business to Skullgirls. They already have their business. You're taking their product away from them after having their business. Maybe give them their money back. If they said, hey, anybody who's not happy with this, will gladly accept the refund for your game. We will reimburse you the full retail amount of Skullgirls and any DLC that you've purchased or whatever, right? Then maybe I can be like, well, at least they're paying you back, right? They're giving you back your money for the product because they're changing. Then I can at least sort of say, you know what? Well, there's something there, right? But you're, like I said, you've paid for this. This is yours. You own it. It's weird. Is there porn of Tommy Tallarico aside from those made by Tommy Amico? I don't know, and I am not looking. The Ninja Turtles porno, for example, never thought I'd see the day the Turtles would bukkake on April's face, but there you go. Little known fact, the actress in that is actually April O'Neil. That's her adult film name. 100% yes, they should offer refunds. Exactly, right? If they're going to do this, that would be the only ethical way to do it. Like, hey, if you're not happy with this, here's what we're doing. If you're not happy with it, we'll give you a refund. And we'll remove the game from your library and we'll give you your money back. Yeah. It's no secret that girls of similar ages in real life are preyed on by gross men and subject to harassment. Women of all ages are subject to harassment. Men too, attractive-looking men are subject to harassment. Should we just not put attractive people in video games? Is that where we're going? Are we going to the time where we just everyone in video games just wear a burqa, not be attractive, just have fat slobs, greasy, horrible-looking people? Then you don't have to worry about it, right? No one will be offended. But Skullgirls uses situations like this to make us horny. Skullgirls doesn't make you. If you're saying that you're being made horny by drawings, maybe something's wrong with you, which is kind of gross when you stop to think about it. All of this is gross. You're all gross. You're a bunch of gross people. Several pieces of risque and problematic art have also been removed from the in-game gallery, some of which comes from past guest artists like Zone Sama or allude to previous events directly linked to real-world fascism. Oh no. These references have no place in a fighting game. Fuck you. If they wanted it in the game, then it has a place. If the developers said, hey, this is in the game, then it has a place. Stop erasing history. Could you imagine? This is so 1984. I know probably 90% of you haven't actually read 1984. I've read it. It's a great book. This is, censorship, and then we're going to pretend like it never existed, and then we're going to pretend like it always was the way it was censored. Right? In the future, we're going to be like, well, there never was any fan service in Skullgirls. What are you talking about? Skullgirls has always been about women in burqas fighting. We've always been at war with East Asia. Attractive-looking men would never been curved by Rhea, though. Tony takes the L again. Always. Always. It's not a little-known fact. I've jerked off to April O'Neil for a good few years. Both fake April and porno April. Wow. I've read it twice. I'll also recommend Fahrenheit 451. I will put that on there. Fahrenheit 451. And if I'm going to add a book onto that recommendations list, Animal Farm. Animal Farm is fantastic. It dissects communism so well. It's so digestible and so easily understandable why it doesn't work. I've read year 1 through 1983. Haven't got on to 1984 yet. You'll get there. Animal Farm is great. Yes, it is. It's so funny because I love Animal Farm. It's probably one of my top five books. If I'm going to remove like fantasy novels and stuff like that from my top books, then Animal Farm's like top 3, right? But it's so funny because Sidekick Max, they read Animal Farm for school, and his teacher was trying to say that Animal Farm was about anti-Nazism, right? And I'm like, no, it's not. He's like, no. The teacher said it's about, the Nazis are the bad guys. I said, no, the book is specifically about communism. It's anti-communism. It's very specific in what it's talking about. The things and the illusions and the parallels in the book couldn't be any more clear. I was like, your teacher must be a fucking communist because he's trying to make it about something else. Animal Farm gets better when you have some life experience. Yeah, I'll agree to that. The movie's not too bad either. Both the cartoon and the live action movie. Snowball is 100% Trotsky. Yeah. Animal Farm is good. I knew I was a Trotskyist, but he gets killed by the other communists, so I'm super. We're never. Communism will never work unless we have robots. Robo-communism is a thing. I stand 100% by it. Make robots slave labor. And that's the only way to work. These references are blah, blah, blah. Okay. At least not in its contemporary form. It isn't cause for outrage or harassment towards devs. It's an opportunity for self-reflection and understanding how it's possible for the media we love to change in response to our own reality. Fuck you. I do not want my media to change in response to your own fucked up perceptions of reality. And the reality that we live in, bad people exist. Nazism exists. Let's not cover it up. Let's not pretend like those things don't happen. Having bad guys in the game be bad guys will help people understand that bad guys exist. It's not woke or bowing to outside pressure. It's 100% both of those. It is woke. It is progressive. It is liberal censorship. And it is the ideology of the weak to try to hide and change the past. Because it hurts their fifis. And it is bowing to outside pressure because 100% the developers did not want to change this. They did not want this to happen. Why do I say that? Because they made the game in the first fucking place. And feels like a fitting step forward after a number of controversies surrounding the game. Its original developer, Lab Zero Games, and former lead game designer, Mike Zaimont. Now, this is a liberal studio who has got a hold of a IP and is now trying to retroactively change what the IP was about. It's no good. No good. When will we hear from Phil Adam again next year? Any details? No, none. I don't think we're going to hear from Phil Adam until maybe October 10/10. Around then, we'll hear from Phil Adam again because people will be pushing for him to come out and talk. Reverge Labs made a conscious decision to alter Skullgirls in a relatively surface-level way to better its own standing among fans and general public. How did it? How did it better its standing among fans if fans bought the product for what it was? If you're a fan of the product, you don't want the product to change. I'm a fan of Monster. I do not want the Monster company to change the formula. I would like, no, don't change the formula. I like the formula the way it is. Now, that's why New Coke failed, right? Because people like the way the Coke tastes. They bought Coke because they liked Coke. So no, this did not better its standing among fans. As we can see on Steam, when all the negative reviews came in, the fans were very outraged. And the general public does not give a fuck about Skullgirls. I can guarantee you that 99% of the general public doesn't even know what the fuck Skullgirls is. So, of course, a handful of loud detractors were going to complain about not seeing a fictional underage girl's panties anymore. Again, this author, they love to do this, right? They love to censor products and then obfuscate why it's an issue to censor things, why it's an issue to retroactively change things that people own. They try to go, well, obviously, you like seeing underage girls' panties. That's why you're mad. No, I'm mad because it's a product that people bought, paid for, and owned that you went in and forcibly changed. You had a decade of that, so please get over the fact it's no longer available. No longer being available is different, right? If they said we're no longer selling the game, we're selling an updated version of the game only. Skullgirls 1.5, Skullgirls remastered, Skullgirls remade, right? If they did that, I'd have no problem. Again, because it's their choice. But to change what is already owned, to change what people already paid for, right? That's the issue. It's like, imagine you ordered a pizza and it got to your house and you're like, hey, I want a large sausage pizza. And it got to your house and there was only cheese on it. They're like, oh, yeah, but we don't believe in sausage no more, so you can have it. You're like, well, can I have the difference in money? You know, the sausage pizza's $12 and the cheese pizza is only $10. Can I have the $2 difference? Like, no, that's not how it works. We're just going to give you the cheese with no sausage because we don't believe in sausage anymore, animal cruelty. But you still have to pay us $12. No one would go for that. No one would be okay with this. I would like Monster to change into a non-cheat company. Yeah, that's not the product though, right? That's the executive. Complaints about the Nazi imagery are also inexcusable, and deciding to show your ass online over the removal of red armbands is a real doozy of a way to go. You see how they do this? You see how they try to paint you? They try to paint your reasonable outrage as some sort of bigotry. Right? You're an ist. Showing your ass. It isn't like Skullgirls isn't still brimming with sexual energy either. So many of its characters are gorgeously confident in their sexuality and use that energy to fight against opponents or flaunt their stuff on the field. I love its designs, vibe, and entire aesthetic. No, you don't. You don't love any of that because you're okay with them changing things. And I don't see why removing a panty shot or two will have detrimental impact on everything else it stands for. It's the principle of the matter. And it's just like when they changed Daryl Hannah's ass in Splash on Disney Plus, right? Don't do that. It's not about the ass. It's about the fact that you're changing history, that you're trying to rewrite the past. Because it doesn't. And it's sad that a developer choosing to make such changes is treated as a big deal or a reason to protest. It's sad that people who are supposed to like games, it's sad that people who are supposed to have journalistic integrity would write crap like this, right? That's the sad thing. And Jade King is a female, which isn't surprising. She was also previously the gaming editor at Trusted Reviews. I wonder why they got rid of her from there. I wonder why she's no longer at Trusted Reviews. All right, let's see now. Finbar, that was sausage pizza. His sausage. That's right. My sausage. I want big sausage pizza. Imagine you ordered a pizza and the dude showed up, opened the box, and his wank was sticking through the middle. I have a problem, don't I? No, that's sausage. All right, take it easy, Mitty. Have a good night. Transitioning over from bad journalists to why are the journalists being laid off? I wonder. I think we just read an example of why games journalists get laid off so much. That's from GameIndustry.biz. Why do games media layoffs keep happening? Redundancies are not uncommon, but the pace at which it's happening in games media is swelling. I wonder why. Why do you think this shit is happening? Let me know in the comments. In the comment section, let me know why you think games media keeps laying people off. Excuse me. All right, let's see. This is from Ki Hoon Chan, his contributor. It says, if you've been following the headlines, you may conclude that no one is reading very much these days. After all, layoffs in games media have been taking place with alarming frequency, with businesses often citing, quote, structure change, quote, supply chain issues, and, quote, very tough marketing environment. Yet amidst conversations around these layoffs, there's one game that keeps cropping up, Elden Ring. Or to be specific, its pivotal role in introducing much-needed traffic to a website. Oh, man. Because games media are assholes? Pretty much. But they're going to blame it on Elden Ring. Somehow it's Elden Ring's fault, I guess. We had giant traffic when Elden Ring came out. It was massive, and then had gone down a bit when there weren't as many big titles like that, said Carly Valachi, a freelance journalist who was laid off from her position as gaming editor of several future publications, including Android Central, iMore, and Windows Central. I wonder why these three gaming sites, who seem to be very niche-oriented, might need to lay people off. That, combined with the pandemic, games coverage was in an interesting place because it's the big games that get most of the traffic, unless there's a breakout or a crossover hit. Layoffs are now endemic to the games media landscape and the broader journalism field, with many affected sites held together by a skeleton crew or operating with a masthead of new writers. I don't know. Maybe it's because you guys are shit at your jobs. That could be it. Just last month, Inverse laid off some members of its editorial team. In April, Waypoint, the games vertical from Vice Media, was unceremoniously shut down alongside organization-wide layoffs in the parent company. And prior to its shuttering was a brutal slashing of jobs across several publications, including the Washington Post's launcher, Fanbyte, and the website under the Gamers Group and Future PLC media groups. One of the most common challenges many of the news teams faced, according to conversations with several affected journalists and editors, was the pressure to meet traffic and revenue metrics. For many writers, Elden Ring became a crucial catalyst for surpassing these goals. So what you're saying is, writing clickbaity articles about Elden Ring was inflating your view count, and then when you tried to do actual articles, no one gave a shit because they were not there to hear what you had to say. They didn't care what you had to say. They just cared about Elden Ring. Maybe that's the problem. Tony, you need to get their job. They need to hire you. I'm pretty sure I'm on a couple blacklists. I'm on several blacklists. There's a couple of gaming websites that just they don't know. I'm on their persona non grata list. So there's that. They keep getting laid off because their publication losing readership over woke ideology. Now that's part of it. Part of it is that. The other part is, like I said, people want to be connected to who they're writing about, right? Or who they're reading. When their focus is more on ideology and being dismissive towards their audience, the audience is not going to connect with the writers, and the audience is not going to come back. Yeah. See, there you go. Finbar. In all seriousness, games media these days have spent so much time insulting its own audience that the audience just turned to YouTube for the news. That's the other issue. And I've talked about this before, but like AdSense and Google Ads and the other forms of marketing on the internet, on websites, right? They need you to be at the article for a set amount of time. Whereas YouTube, you can click and you got that 5-second skippable ad, right? For like this website, you need to be there for a certain amount of time in order for the advertisers to be satisfied that their ads made it to my eyeballs, right? This means that articles that should just be like 200 words, like real quick, hey, here's the new game that came out, it's going to cost $50. Here's a system that's available on blah, 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 right? No, they need to pad out the article so it's at least 500 words so that the advertisers feel like people will be there long enough. And people don't want that, right? People do not want fluff. They want substance. And when you have no substance, and when people start going to your website and start reading your articles and there's no substance there, they're going to click out. They're not going to come back. And it's the same way like when YouTubers make those videos and you can just tell that they're drawn out to that 8-minute time mark. It's bad. But that's not entirely a bad thing because it will force the wrong people out of games journalism, and hopefully the space will be created for the right people to come in. Hopefully it just doesn't get people on the other side to come in and then just fuck it up the other way. It says, we've pivoted to have some members doing some really extensive Elden Ring guides because longer pages essentially brought in more revenue, says former writer from Fanbyte who declined to be named. While we weren't able to meet traffic goals, we were able to meet the revenue goals, which we were told was fine. This fixation on traffic may have been a sign of what was to come for Tencent-owned Fanbyte, which also became a guides-focused publication. In September 2022, many of the site's writers were laid off, sharing that they were looking for a job on Twitter one after another. Ex-news editor Imran Khan, who's terrible, was laid off while sleeping on the other side of the globe, having been attending the Tokyo Game Show event in Japan as the layoffs took place. Online exit interviews were cut off abruptly due to the staff emails rapidly getting deleted. I'm not trying to laugh at game journalists losing their job, but it is funny. I find some joy in it. We can fill that space. I will fill their space so well. We're experts. I've tried. It's not entirely easy, but it can be done. A lot of with games journalism, as with all journalism, time is really the big problem, right? And especially more with games, like with regular journalism, right? You just go, like say you're writing about the president, you go out there, you listen to his speech, boom, you write an article. With games journalism, right? You have to play the game. You have to play Elden Ring for hundreds of hours to get the information that you need in order to write the article, right? So that's the issue, like the doing. So you have to be good at games. You have to be competent at games, first off. You have to be competent at writing. So there's that. And then you have to have the time in order to play the games, to competently write about them. So if you can get over all that, time is my mortal enemy. I haven't told you all about the August thing yet. No. Time is my mortal enemy too. It's one of the reasons why I never get anything done. Literally today, it was 10 o'clock, and then I blinked, and it was 12. And I'm like, what the fuck? When did it become 12? How did it become 12 so fast? The way that they laid us off, with people getting cut off in the middle of their layoff interviews, from what I heard, the guy who laid all of us off, genuinely, honest to God, believed that every single one of us got mad that we were being laid off and hung up on him. It was just very clear that nobody really knew the extent of what was going on. Another former Fanbyte writer adds, even the people that were taking on the new leadership roles didn't know that shit was happening and weren't entirely clear about just how much was coming, and they couldn't give us concrete answers. Lotus explains that since she was on vacation and driving while the announcement broke, she couldn't pick up a call informing her officially about her retrenchment. By the time she arrived at her destination, she had received a templated email informing her that she was being laid off. The message ended with a quote, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, a worker will go through an average of 12 to 15 jobs in their lifetime. This is just a small bump in your career, and we sincerely hope you will come back stronger. That's a fucked up thing to send somebody. I've been laid off a couple times in my life, and I've never had anything like that sent to me. So DJC won't make a good game journalist then? He never gets far in games. He'd be a perfect, actually. He'd fit right in with the Dean Takahashis of the world in games journalism. He wouldn't make a good games journalist for us that actually want to read things, but that's basically what games journalism is. Shitty gamers who wish they were regular journalists writing crappy articles. It's terrible, says one ex-Fanbyte writer. I can only laugh about it now, but that quote was so shitty of them. Before it was Fanbyte, the website was known as Zam.com, and the publication was briefly rebranded as Ready Set. Then managing editor Chris Lorischild was laid off soon after the site's rebrand. It's very funny because there was not really much explanation given to us who were laid off. It was just simply like, this is the company restructuring, the various ways in which companies try to soft pedal when announcing layoffs. There had been no indication up to that point that there was going to be any sort of layoffs. They added that Zam.com's parent company, Tencent, was reluctant to commit resources to the site, despite expecting certain quotas to be met. As compared to Fanbyte's masthead, Lorischild had largely served as the site's editor alone, or with two more editors briefly over Zam.com's 3 years in operation. You do not need 3 editors. 3 editors is overkill. A lot of the times, the problems with these websites is you're overpaying staff, you have way too much staff, and you are way too lax on what needs to be submitted and when. You got to run that ship tighter. You got to run a tight ship if you want to make some money. It says 4 years later, Fanbyte's editorial team was similarly taken aback by the scale of the layoffs. The site had largely met the traffic and revenue goals set by upper management, but the goalposts for those were constantly shifting every few months or so. Lotus adds, my coworkers above me definitely did their best to, for lack of a better word, shield us from numbers and all the agency side of things. It was like, if you're doing good work, you're doing good work. Here's what else we might need you to do. Fanbyte staff felt a little bit insulated in some way. I felt like Fanbyte was doing well, but it's that thing of like, great job, you smashed it. Your unrealistic goal we gave you. Here's a goal that's 10 times as unrealistic. Do your best. And then this doesn't look good for us anymore. When you're having YouTubers get millions of views on videos, and you're doing articles that are getting thousands of views, it's probably an issue, right? It's probably an issue. You got to run a tight ship, not a shite tip. Exactly, Finbar. A lack of resources and accountability. The events that led to the widespread layoffs at Fanbyte, as well as the way it happened, vague, unexpected, and abrupt, weren't unique to this publication. UK media group Future had also conducted layoffs around the same time in September last year, despite forecasting high profit margins at the time. Former Future gaming editor Carly Veloci tells us that she wasn't given a particular reason for her dismissal, but observed that it mainly affected the copy editing department. Targets around traffic and revenue were also largely met, even though there was a drop in both traffic and affiliate revenues as compared to the peak from during the pandemic. One former Future employee who didn't feel comfortable speaking on the record due to the NDA restrictions revealed they thought many of these goals were unrealistic in the first place. They pointed out that this probably due to the small team of full-time editorial staff. Combined with the slashing of freelance budgets, they felt that the resources were lacking, leading to an incredible amount of stress for the team. Man, could you imagine being stressed from writing? Oh no, I have to write articles that people want to read? Then in March 2023, there were the layoffs by Gamers Group, the games media group behind publications such as Twinfinite, GamePer, and Esports. One crucial difference is the Gamers layoff also involved freelance journalists who did not receive any severance pay. No shit. Why would they? Why would you say that as if that was an expected thing? Freelancers are freelancers for a reason. Gamers already had a reputation for substandard freelance rates. GamePer, for instance, pays its freelancers $15 for short news pieces of around 250 words, with longer articles such as opinion pieces and features ranging from $35 to $70. Hey, I could do that. I can knock out a 250-word article like that. $15 for less than a half hour of work. That's like 2 articles, maybe 3. I could probably get 3 articles of 250 words done in an hour. So we're talking $45 an hour. And they're like, hey, this is substandard rates. Should be more. Could you imagine longer articles? $70. And it takes you an hour to write it. $70 an hour you've just made. $70 an hour. The problem isn't the rates, in my opinion. The problem was probably, and they're not mentioning this, there was probably a limit to how many you could submit. Right? They're not just gonna be like, hey, give us like fucking 10 articles and we're gonna pay you. You know, it was probably like, hey, you could submit like 5 a week. Right? So like the most you could make is probably maybe 350 on the high side, and then 75 on the low side, right? And that you can't live on that. Other gamers sites also offered similar rates. Esports fee for a 2,000 word feature is $90. Again, 2,000 words, you could probably knock that out in an hour and a half if you type fast. I type pretty slow, so maybe 2 hours. 2 hours to do a 2,000 word feature, $45 an hour. How was that bad? I'm not seeing the bad there. Former freelance journalists for several gamers publications tell Game Industry Biz that they earned an average of $400 to $600 a month. Sounds like they needed to write more. Sounds like they weren't writing enough. Depending on the month, I got roughly $500 to $1,000 from GamePer, but it definitely averaged more on the $600 end, says Steph Roller, a former freelance writer for the site. When I was freelancing full-time, I normally had 2 to 3 gigs at a time, including GamePer, but it definitely wasn't sustainable. I only covered groceries and a handful of other small bills. Man, it sounds like they need to have tighter ships. You know, when I was doing freelance journalism, I would have loved it if I was making $600 a month freelancing back in the day. That would have been fantastic. I would have been jumping for joy. I'd have been the happiest man. I would have been a pig in shit. So happy. When I worked for One Angry Gamer, I was doing 1 article a day. 1 article a day for 30 days. So 1 article a day for a month. And I was getting $150. $150. So it was like 30 articles. It's like $5 each. It's $150 plus free games and stuff, you know, to do the articles. So if I was doing on a game, I would get the game free. But I was getting $150. $50. But see, the problem is these games journalists aren't gamers. They're not gamers. They don't want to play games, right? For me, it's easy because I'm going to play games anyway, right? That's my hobby. So I'll be playing games. So I'll be working and doing my hobby at the same time. Whereas these people, they don't want to play the games. They feel like playing the games for an hour is taking away, like that's work for them, right? So that was an hour of work they didn't get paid for, unpaid work. Whereas, like I said, for me, I'm going to play games anyway, so that's not work. That's fun. That's my leisure time. Sitting down to write the article, that was the work. So if I was getting paid those rates, Finbar says I can do that. People often commented on how well I do words and stuff. You do words really well. You speak with such a beautiful voice, and your words are so well. The payment structure of gamers also incentivizes freelance writers into producing more articles, with bonuses being awarded those who can reach a certain number of articles written per quarter. In particular, one anonymous writer shared that they had earned a $500 bonus from producing 500 articles in one quarter. That's 500 in one quarter. What was that? We're talking 4 months, so 125 articles a month. And they're talking, gamers was 250 words, so 250 words. Shit. 250 word articles, 500 of them. I can knock that out in 2 months if I really wanted to. If I'm given free reign, I guess if they're like, hey, here's what you have to write on specifically, if you're given like specific topics, maybe that's an issue, right? Just as someone who worked with these folks, a lot of them did really good work for very little, says Grace Benfell, a former future editor of GamePer. The writers are directly encouraged by the system that were created to try and pitch and write as much as possible. However, the sheer volume of content being produced and the effectiveness of this editorial strategy was one reason cited by Gamers founder and CEO Riyadh Chickahani for the layoffs. In addition to Silicon Valley Bank's collapse, in an email sent to Gamer staff, Chickahani wrote that approximately 35% of the content produced was driving less than 10% of web traffic, and the group cannot maintain such a high level of inefficiency. Yeah, well, that's what happens. When you have people who don't write well, don't actually care about the subject matter, don't write compelling articles that are interesting, no one's going to read them, right? So like 65% of the content was getting crappy views. Conclusively, this investment into new categories and simultaneously increasing the volume across existing ones didn't deliver the profitability to justify further investment, he wrote. I take full accountability for the decision we make as a company. Chickahani still remains in position as Gamers Group CEO today. Man, this is a long-ass fucking article. We're almost done. We're going to get through this. Perhaps the biggest surprise was the closure of Launcher, the gaming vertical of legacy media giant The Washington Post, at the end of March this year, with the bulk of its editorial team being laid off. I didn't even know Launcher existed. That's how well they did at promoting, right? Launcher was shut down despite the section's strong performance, attracting over tens of millions of users, the majority first-time readers of the Post, according to former Launcher editor Mike Hume on Twitter. This distinction is crucial because, according to several former Launcher staff we spoke to, the Washington Post's long-term vision was to attract younger audiences, something Launcher excelled at. One former Launcher journalist tells us, we were told that Launcher had the youngest audience at the Post, and the editor was like, yeah, we're looking to Launcher when it comes to our other sections because you guys are nailing that part of the Washington Post's mission statement. And from what I understand, we met our traffic goals every year. The Launcher team was told that no particular metrics were looked at for the layoffs, and that this wasn't a reflection of their performance. In fact, the usual glossary of corporate jargon was used when justifying closure. The truth of the matter was, I can probably bet that the people that were going to the Washington Post Launcher website probably had ad blocker on, right? I know you guys are turn off that pesky ad blocker, as Matt Jarber would say. The launcher team was told, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Newsroom leaders made these decisions after a thoughtful and deliberate review of our current roles and vacant positions, wrote the Washington Post executive editor Sally Busby in a note to staff. While such changes are not easy, evolution is necessary for us to stay competitive, and the economic climate has guided our decision to act now. We believe these steps will ultimately help us fulfill our mission to scrutinize power and empower readers. These platitudes, however, offered little consolation to the laid-off team, says another former launcher journalist. It's reassuring, but also very frustrating in a lot of different ways. We weren't laid off because we were underperforming. A few former launcher employees shared that traffic and revenue goals were not heavily imposed on the team, nor were there a minimum story quota to meet. There was a general sense that its writers were eager to build a long-term career there, and that they were free to pursue and write whatever stories they want without the need to quickly churn out SEO-friendly stories on blockbuster games like Elden Ring or other trending issues. Everyone was like, yeah, we want this to be your last job too. We want you to make a career here. We want you to stay here for decades. When I first joined, says the first former launcher writer we spoke to. I let myself have hope for the first time in my journalism career that maybe this could be the place where I stay for decades and make a name for myself. Oh, wants to make a name for himself. Former launcher reporter Shannon Leo tells us that while there were occasions where she felt compelled to produce more articles per week so the site would have enough content, she was generally afforded enough time to conduct interviews and write in-depth investigative features. There's a really great privileged thing I experienced at Washington Post, that once I started writing for several months or up to a year, a lot of sources and companies would reach out to me and say, can you do this? Can you break this exclusive news? I want you to see this in the Washington Post, she says. This work was great. I want to jump into it and do all of it. But at the same time, actually, it's a lot to handle. Now she's fucking complaining about having sources and people asking to do work. How dare they? I was writing about crunch a lot, and I thought if it was ironic, if I ever have to crunch while working on an article about crunch, then I feel like I'm doing something wrong. But even so, it was always self-imposed. Nobody said you have to work these long hours, but I felt like I have to do it to produce a balanced article. GameIndustry.biz reached out to the Washington Post, Launcher, Fanbyte, and Gamers Group for comment, but have not received a response at the time of publication. While the frequency of these layoffs and the way they were carried out is troubling, these cannot be defined as illegal, says William Lee, senior counsel at law firm Morrison Rothman. Unfortunately, the thing is that whether or not something is legal and whether or not something is ethical are sometimes two different things, she says. Contractually speaking, from a legal perspective, we do not have any laws or regulations that state how someone must be laid off or who can find out first or whether or not companies can go to the media. From a legal perspective, there's very few protections. Certain unions might have rules, like you have to negotiate first, or there is certain bargaining power that unions may have, but a lot of individual employees at these companies, which most of them I presume are not unionized, wouldn't have access to. Of all the ex-employees GameIndustry.biz reached out to, only Launcher's former staff belonged to a union, the Washington Post Guild, and they agreed that the guild definitely helped them negotiate for better severance packages than they would have been offered initially. Another former Launcher writer tells us the default packages the post office were magnitudes worse than what the union secured for them. They shouldn't have got anything. Liu advised journalists in this precarious climate to be specific about the terms of their employment contracts. In particular, this means looking closely at the termination provisions and see if you have any room for negotiation. You delineate between termination for cause and termination without cause. So if it's termination for cause, meaning the journalist or employee did something wrong, then obviously they get terminated immediately, she explains. But if it's termination without cause, meaning it wasn't through any fault of their own, maybe they can negotiate in their employment contract that I'm entitled to X many months of health benefits or employment benefits, or I'm entitled to X amount of termination severance pay. In the long run, however, many journalists are pessimistic about the future of games media. Several uphill battles lay ahead, but in the constant struggle to outpace the whims of an SEO-dominated industry, or that the problem is just more fundamental, that digital media has not found a way to remain profitable enough for its key stakeholders. You have some people doing great investigative journalism, covering news or writing very long, in-depth oral histories and features about the industry. But in general, that's not what places are writing. That's not what resources are going, says Valachi, who maintains a newsletter paid in exposure about the current state of media. It's going towards SEO stuff. affiliate revenue articles, and quick hit guides. So there's a lot in journalism in general that overlaps. This is journalism problem across the board. Journalism does not know how to make money, hasn't for a long time, and is struggling. Another writer says they simply cannot see how newer writers might break into the industry, with competition being extremely tight these days in light of the layoffs. This, unfortunately, will lead to a shrinking pool of diverse, underrepresented voices. Shut the fuck up. I don't want diverse, underrepresented voices. I just want good journalists. Damn it. Tony's still reading? Yeah, it's a long article. I'm going to research TMNT content from Finbar again. Games journalism died with the print magazine. It did. We're almost done. I sincerely don't know where to go from here. It's such a difficult time to see any future for the industry because I'm thinking about all those young people who might want to get into games journalism. And it's like, you're going to be competing against really seasoned professional editors and writers that have been doing this for a while because they're also looking for jobs because they've been laid off. And if they can't get these jobs, I am so sorry to say it, but the chances of you getting the job are so minuscule that it is unfair to even have these opportunities technically open to any and all writers. The odds are just so stacked against new, vulnerable writers, it's impossible to be doing this. Them poor journalists out on their ass. It happens. All right, let's get to something a little more happy. Tony getting angry at the left again. Always. Holy shit, who wrote the article? Retro Advisory Board? Possibly. It's a games journalist who wrote the article. They had to stretch that bad boy out. Make sure they got all that ad revenue. All right, this was interesting here. This is from Globe Newswire by Notified. Atari announces strategic collaboration with Playmaji Inc. Atari and Playmaji Inc., the company behind Polymega, will collaborate on innovative retro hardware and software initiatives. This sounds fantastic. Once again, Atari eating the lunch of Intellivision. Intellivision announces that they sold off IPs. Intellivision announces that their games are going to be on other consoles because they are in defeat. Atari makes announcements because they are winning at life. It says Atari, one of the world's most iconic consumer brands and interactive entertainment producers, today announced a strategic collaboration with Playmaji Inc., the Los Angeles-based company behind the modular multi-system game console Polymega. Blah, 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 blah. It says, all right, this is the important part. The Atari VCS will add support for the Polymega app and the Polymega Remix add-on. This will effectively provide all the functionality of a Polymega console to Atari VCS owners. So with this app and the add-on, you're essentially going to be able to convert your VCS, the new VCS. It's confusing because the original was the VCS, but the new VCS, you're going to be able to convert that to a Polymega. And you're going to be able to play other systems games on your new VCS. It says, in addition, a new cartridge module will be developed that will add Atari 2600 and Atari 7800 compatibility to the Polymega. So now the Polymega is going to get an add-on that's going to allow you to play your old 2600 and 7800 cartridges, as well as the new cartridges that Atari is just coming out with. The addition of this cartridge module will make Atari's 2600 and 7800 games more accessible to retro enthusiasts and expand the market for Atari's line of collectible game cartridges. It says Atari-owned games will also be sold in the Polymega storefront, giving Atari enthusiasts an additional way to access timeless Atari content and an additional platform on which the company can commercialize its extensive back catalog of video games. So you'll be able to buy digital copies of the Atari catalog, including the newly owned M Network games on your Polymega. Is Asmongold the guy with the shithole of a game room? Yes, he is. So big news for Atari. Atari's partnering up with the Polymega people. We're going to have new options for Polymega, new options for Atari. It seems like a win-win to me. Seems like a win-win for Atari, Polymega. Big loss for Intellivision. You know it's got to be eating them up inside. All right. I thought Tommy Tellerico was going to buy Atari. I thought he was too. The VCS is $225 now. Not bad. With the whole Polymega thing, I think that'd be pretty interesting. Be able to play your old games on the VCS, the non-Atari games, the other systems. All right. Speaking of other systems, this is according to Nash Weedle, the analyst of leaks. We're getting this from translated from Spanish, but it says the Switch 2 development kit has arrived in Spain. That a Spanish study already has the kit in the face of Nintendo's policy of secrecy is a boost to their relations and indicate that we are in the last phases prior to the presentation of the console. It has been leaked. We have official confirmation that the Switch 2 development kit has been delivered to a Spanish studio. That's it, boys. That's it. Switch 2 coming probably next year. I would, if I had to be a betting man, if I was a betting man, Switch 2 2025. I don't think they're going to call it the Switch 2. It's not going to be a Pro. It's probably going to be a brand new Switch. Whether it's going to be backwards compatible or not, I'm going to lean and say it is going to be backwards compatible. It's just my opinion. Don't take this as fact, but in my opinion, the Switch 2, which won't be called the Switch 2, it'll probably be called like Switch again, Switch Plus, Ultra Switch. And from what I'm hearing, from my understanding, the Switch 2, the new Switch, is going to basically be like a PS4. So it's not going to be able to compete with the PS5 or the Xbox Series X, but it will be on the same level as a PS4. It's a translation error. They're saying lunch was delivered to the studio, not a Switch. Don't care. I already have a Steam Deck. I have a Steam Deck too. I also have a Switch. It's funny enough. I have a Switch and a Steam Deck. I don't use either one of them. I took the Steam Deck to Philadelphia thinking I was going to use it, and I used it a few times. But the shitty Wi-Fi and the fact that I hadn't updated the firmware in so long made it hard to use. So I was like, man, I should have brought the Switch because I could have just plugged it into the TV. So next time I'll probably bring the Switch with me. But I did just download, what the hell was it? Tales? What the hell is that? Come on, help me out. Fucking, how did I just buy something and I don't even remember what the hell the name of it was? Let me see. Legend of Heroes, what is this? Tales, Trails in the Sky. Legend of Heroes, Trails in the Sky. It was on sale, Steam sale. So I got that. Because I had bought the Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel. I was like, oh shit, all these were on sale, right? So I bought them on the PlayStation. Trails of Cold Steel. But then I found out, oh, these are connected to the other games. So you have to basically play every single Trails game to know what's going on. So now I got Trails in the Sky. Now I got to play that. Then I got to play the second game. Then I got to play the third game. Then I got to play like 2 more games. Then finally I could start playing the Trails of Cold Steel games that I bought like years ago. Fire Up Tales of Iron. I didn't like the way it looked. I seen it. I think it's free on PlayStation Plus. It's in the catalog. I just don't like the aesthetic. So I'm like, It's about a 10-hour game with Clark Kent narration. Maybe I'll add that in my rotation It'll be one of the games I beat. Speaking of games I beat, I think, what am I up to now? Let's get the list out. Let's bust out the list. See what we're up to now. I am now up to 41 games beat. So 11 more games, and I will have knocked out 52 games for the year. It's 11 more. Recently, I have beaten, let's see, South Park Stick of Truth. And I beat the AEW Fight Forever, all that Road to Elite mode stuff. Geek Apocalypse, I beat that. Clash Force. If you haven't played Clash Force, it is a really good action platformer. It's cheap. I think I bought it for like $1.99. It was on sale. It's not long. It's hard as nails. It reminds me of like a Contra type game. Imagine Contra, but a little bit harder, a little more heavy on the platforming. But it's a solid game for what it is. I beat South Park Fractured But Whole. Then I beat Ray Force, Ray Storm, and I'm going to beat the third one probably tomorrow because I do have the Ray Z arcade. So I got that review copy of the Ray Z arcade collection. It's got 3 games, 5 if you count the 2 HD games, but they're just HD remasters, and I'm not going to count those. Yeah. Tony wins. Hell yeah. My 5th game is Huntdown, $3.99 on Steam. I seen that on PlayStation, but I'm like, man, I got to stop buying games. Because I still have so many. I think I'm down to like 480 in my backlog on my PlayStation, and that's not even counting all the games on the PlayStation Plus. Looks pretty cool. All right. What do we? Let's get back into this. All right. We're going from the Switch 2 to the PlayStation Pro. This is part of the documents filed by the Microsoft company. And it says PlayStation likewise sells a less expensive digital edition for $3.99 and is expected to release a PlayStation 5 Slim later this year at the same reduced price point. So Microsoft, in their FTC filings, fighting off the whole regulators and saying, hey, we're not bad. They've basically said, hey, there's a PlayStation 5 Slim coming away. So if you haven't got your PS5, maybe in time for Christmas, PS5 Slim. It'd be kind of weird. I don't know how it would look because, it's not that fat to begin with, the PlayStation 5, right? So I don't know why they would call it a Slim, especially when you take off the disc tray without having the disc tray on it. It's pretty slim. Tall, right? Maybe it'll be a PS5 short, but I don't see how it'd be a Slim. I don't think you can make it any slimmer. But yeah. That's all I want to say about that. I won't be getting one because I already have a PS5. What do I need a Slim for? PS5 Pro, that's what I'm holding out for. I think maybe 2 more years you'll get a Pro. I don't see the Pro coming out anytime soon. I think you gotta. I know the life cycles are a certain amount of years, but I think the pandemic, you gotta kind of just pretend like those don't exist. Those years. Those 2 pandemic years don't exist. And so you got to shift all the goalposts. You won't stop buying games. You liar, you're obsessed. I try to. I probably won't. You're probably right. But I am trying. Don't blame me, Finbar. All right, so this article was real quick. We're not going to read the whole thing, but I just thought it was funny. There was people like freaking out over this. But Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't mind if you sleep with a druid while he's turned into a grizzly bear. Have you ever considered the joys and pleasures of sexual congress with a wild-shaped druid? So apparently in Baldur's Gate 3, there's going to be romance options. You're going to be able to romance different characters. One of the characters is a druid who can wild shape. And apparently you can convince him to wild shape into a grizzly while you get freaky. And you'll get a little cutscene of some weird human on bear action. And people were freaking out on both ends. Some people calling it degeneracy. How dare they allow bear on man action, bear on woman action when they don't want fan service in games? How is this acceptable when you're censoring Skullgirls? Which is weird because they're like totally different companies. I don't understand. Well, why one company is held to a certain standard, and you're like, hey, this company censored their game and they don't allow this. Why are you okay with this? Like, dude, it's different companies. Like, calm down, calm the fuck down. Games journalists are getting all excited because they're, there's all kind of articles, and realistically, people are like, oh, I don't understand why. Why would Larian Studios make this part of their marketing? Why would they say this? Why? Because there's so many fucking articles about this stupid have sex with the bear thing, right? Their game is getting so much attention from this. That's why they did it. Timothy Treadwell tried this game. Oof. Kinky. It's kinky, yeah. Says, I don't blame you. I do the same thing. I play about 5% of the games you play, and maybe less. I buy a lot on sale. That's the thing. But like, oh my god, it's like $5. Oh my god, it's like $10. And I'm like, I just buy a whole bunch of them. I'm like, I'm never even gonna play these. But it was such a good deal. I can't pass up such a good deal. Sex sells. You're right. Sex sells. I think this is silly. DiCaprio won an Oscar by having intercourse with a bear movie. Did he? I didn't see that movie. I'm not familiar with that movie. I think this is stupid. This is a stupid thing. It's silly. It's goofy. It's funny. I don't see it as being detrimental to anybody, right? Like I said, a lot of people, there was people out there going, this is degeneracy. This is disgusting degeneracy. It's bestiality. And I'm like, yeah, it is. It is. It really is. It is. But at the same time, I don't think, pretty sure, I'm like 99% sure that nobody's going to go out and try to have sex with a grizzly. Pretty sure people are not that dumb, right? Like if this was another animal where I'm like, yeah, that animal could be hurt, right? Like if this was like a dog or a bunny rabbit or something that's small and vulnerable. But I'm like, if you can somehow find and track down a grizzly bear and get it to agree to give you a little something, you're taking your chances, right? It rolls over on you and it just crushes you. I'll try if the money's right. Larian had prostitution and divinity, didn't it? I'm saying this is just silly stupidness, and people need to get over themselves, right? Gaming is about fun. Gaming is about doing things that you can't do in real life. Some of the things are illegal, right? Grand Theft Auto has so many illegal things, and we wouldn't want them to get rid of it. We wouldn't want them to change it. I don't understand how people get so outraged over things and then get outraged over other things that go the opposite way. It's so weird. I better retract that statement before PETA come to get me. I would never even consider a grizzly bear as a sexy animal. Like, hey, I want to have sex with it. No, that's weird. It's weird. But it would be funny. Like, if this is in the game, we're like, oh, that's kind of funny. I want to see this. I want to see what they say. I want to see the cutscene. I'm amused by this happening in a game. And it's one of those things, right? Like when you're like, hey, when you start thinking about D&D and druids, like, hey, a druid could change shape. Like would it be able to do that? Like, it's one of those stupid questions that you ask yourself, and the fact that they're like, yeah, actually, you can. We're going to answer that question for you. I find it amusing. So, bravo, Larian Studios, bravo. Baldur's Gate 3 looks good. I am excited. I want to try this game. I've never played a Baldur's Gate game before, but I am excited for this one, and I'm looking forward to playing it. Send me a copy, Larian, if you're watching. I will gladly accept a review copy of this game. Bear shagging and all. That's all I wanted to say, but we didn't really need to read the article. It's a little gross. All right, we got one more thing to just briefly look over before we get into the polls and then get out of here. And let's be honest, nobody decides to fuck a grizzly bear. A grizzly bear fucks you up. Yeah. You just lay there and play dead and hope, right? Just pray. All right, it says Sega pulls back from blockchain gaming as crypto winter persists. That's from Bloomberg. Sega Corp, the gaming studio once regarded among the staunchest advocates of blockchain gaming, is pulling back from an area devastated by the global crypto industry meltdown. Man, Tommy really bet on the wrong fucking horse, right? Remember, he thought the blockchain was so hot when he first announced it. Poor... what is he? Console and Disc Podcast, the Cartridge and Disc Podcast. I think that's what he's called now. But our friend Gen X Gamer, remember he was so excited about the possibility of NFTs in his Amico. He's excited for the NFT gaming, for the blockchain, for all the crypto. Crypto's fucking taking a bath lately. I am so glad that I got out when I did. I saw it coming. I am not a GD. I'm not I don't have ESP. I don't have any sort of extra sensory perception as to what's going to happen. You know, I'm not a predictor of the future, but I've seen it. I've seen it coming. Olden times didn't have the internet to keep them entertained. They might have had snuggle with animals here and there. Probably. I'm still a crypto bro. Don't be a crypto bro. Tommy confused the blockchain with tap to download games. He did. Broke people don't have money to invest. They don't. That's the problem. You got to wait. I'm not a crypto bro. I'm not. I understand how to use crypto in order to make some profit, how to flip some stuff. I can spot the scam, right? I think that's probably my skill. So I saw it coming. I was like, "Oh shit, it's coming! It's going down. It's gonna." If I think it's going back up, I'll let you know. 56K, but right now, no. We're in for bad time. Says the company behind Sonic the Hedgehog and Yakuza will withhold its biggest franchises from third-party blockchain gaming projects to avoid devaluing its content. Co-chief operating officer Shuji Utsumi told Bloomberg News. It's also shelving plans to develop its own games in that genre, at least for now. The remarks from an executive who helped launch the PlayStation at Sony Group Corp decades ago underscore a shift at the 60-year-old firm. Sega, along with rivals like Square Enix Holdings Co. and Bandai Namco Holdings Inc., previously advocated using blockchain-based technology it believes can boost the appeal of its titles. Those were the days platforms such as Axie Infinity, where gamers earned tokens just by playing, were taking off. But the digital currency market collapse wiped out much of their appeal. Atari still has the Atari X project that they're doing with blockchain. It's not going to work. Sega does plan to let external partners use its lesser-known Three Kingdoms and Virtual Fighter characters for non-fungible tokens, a sort of certificate that confirms ownership of the digital asset. The company's intent to join the once red-hot NFT community, first announced in 2021, drew widespread criticism from gamers who viewed crypto technology as bad for the environment. I don't view it as bad for the environment. I just view it as stupid. Sega devaluing Sonic with bad developers. Yeah, but they revalued it with the movies. Do you even crypto, bro? No, I do not. Crypto is in the toilet. me and one other 14-year-old kid had to guard the camp from three bears while everyone else went to put food up. The bears did not follow the food, so we had to resort to lighting sticks in a fire. Damn. Haunted Wisp was out there fighting bears like a man. And it says the action and play to earn games is boring. Utsumi told Bloomberg News. What's the point if games are no fun? Utsumi was also very non-committal about employing Web 3.0 technology in what Sega dubs its Super Game initiative, a lineup of big-budget online multiplayer games due to roll out from 2026. We're looking into whether this technology is really going to take off in this industry, after all. Sega's shift reflects a broader cooling of the concept of Web 3.0, a term used to describe an internet built around the blockchain that once attracted billions of dollars from the likes of Andreessen Horowitz. Peers such as Ubisoft Entertainment have pulled back their investment in NFT games after drawing criticism amid low interest. Didn't Square Enix just launch like an NFT game or some shit? Yeah. I could have swore that Square just had like one that was like NFT, and they said like you're gonna help shape the universe by collecting the NFTs in this. It was like some weird shit. Sega will still offer its lesser franchises to several blockchain games to be announced later this year, and will continue to invest in related projects to the tune of hundreds of millions of yen in each case, Utsumi said. The technology remains useful, for instance, by making it possible to move characters and items between different games, he said. Longer term, Sega remains open to getting more involved as the technology matures. I still don't understand this whole idea of making it possible to move characters and items between different games. You can do this without the blockchain. It's literally not that hard, right? Just get a server and just upload the information. Like, okay, this is my character and all the items uploaded into the thing, and then the other game just has to be able to use that information, right? You just have to build the other game to use the information. It's like being able to move your save data between different consoles. It's probably a little more complicated than that, but I'm sure they can figure this out without using a blockchain. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 99.99999% sure you can do all of this without the blockchain. For the majority of people in the video game industry, what blockchain advocates say may sound a bit extreme, but that's how the first penguin has always been there. Utsumi said, describing risk takers who are the first to take the plunge, we should never underestimate them. Blockchain gaming is stupid, pointless. It's not needed. It's not needed. Anyway, let's go ahead to check out the polls, because we do have weekly polls here at the Geek Getaway. One of them was inspired by Mr. Smash JT himself. So we're going to take a look. Let's see. What have we been doing this week? All right. So this week, we were blocked by the Rexer Show. Look at that. Rexer Show blocked us 2 days ago. Not only did Rexer block me on Twitter, but also he has blocked me on YouTube. The comments that I read on my video on Wednesday, on my live stream, the Wednesday live stream we did on Rexer, I read several comments from myself on his video. They are not there when you go to Rexer's video unless you're me, right? It'll show up for me because obviously that's the way YouTube does it. They have this weird system where you get banned from a channel, but they try to make it seem like you're not banned, so you don't know. It's just like shadow banning. So yeah, that you guys might have been like, oh, let me go see. Let me go see those comments, or let me comment on those comments. Gone. You're not going to see them. That's how it is. Got to control that narrative. Can't let people see you getting clowned on. All right. Moving on. All right, we ask you, do you think modern video games are too long? 96 votes. We got 29% said yes, 32% said no. And winning the poll at 39%, some are. All right. Why are they? I don't know if you guys could hear that noise, but apparently my neighbors have decided to blow up fireworks once again. It's fantastic. It's 10 o'clock at night, and I got fireworks going. Let's see what people have to say. CM Retro said, yes, about 20 hours into a game, I'm starting to get antsy and thinking to myself, when is this going to be over? Jan Mr. Yan said, we need simple games like those in the Amico. Dragon Chaser Kev, I don't play modern video games other than the new Dragon Quest, though I'm behind on that, but haven't played any game that was too long. If it has 100 plus hours of content in it, great. I feel I get my money's worth. Blinded Braille says sometimes, but that's why I pick and choose. Rafi Durin, 8962, but the Metal Gear franchise is an exception. Raiden Silvergun says, why? Because I'm curious. Bellstar says, longer is better. That's what she said. You Super J says, yes, but for my situation, I want to start a 60 to 100 hour game, but I'm a dad, husband, business owner, etc. An 80-hour game means I'm locked in the same thing for the next 3 months. Can't do it. Give me retro with save states. I can change games on the fly, and I don't have to learn new controls. The exception for me are games, open world games like GTA or The Witcher, where you can kill time by doing what you want. What I do for longer games, I will try to play one longer game and then intersperse shorter games. So like when I was playing Stick of Truth, I didn't just play Stick of Truth only. So I would play like Stick of Truth for an hour or two and then like play a quick game of something else and then go back to it. So that way, you get the longer games in there, but you're not bored from playing so many. Fireworks all month long. It's going to be all month long. Probably all this month and then next month. Okay. And then in September, because I live in a very Mexican city, in September around Mexican Independence Day, we'll have a bunch more fireworks too. So there's that to look forward to. Aaron World Order said sometimes, and Nerdette said no. What a dumb question. 4 replies. There are no dumb questions, just dumb people. She says, I wasn't talking about your mom. I promise I'm not 4. Silly old Nerdettes. All right. One day ago, I said, do you care about esports? 7% said yes. 12% said certain ones. 81%, and this is where I fall in the category of no. I don't care about esports. I don't care about competitive gaming. I'm not a watcher. I don't like watching. And I say this a lot, and as someone who has streamed games and always like weird that people are watching, it's like, why are you watching? I don't like watching people play games. There's just something weird or something off about it. Even like watching people play sports, right? Like I don't want to watch people play basketball. I like playing basketball. I will play basketball. If you're like, hey, Tony, let's go shoot some fucking hoops, right? I'll go. But when it comes to like watching, I'm not going to sit and watch other people play a game. I'm not going to sit and watch a professional, the NBA. It is a me problem. It really is. I get it. But it's like, why would I want to watch other people play a game, play sports? Could you imagine? You're like, hey, you want to go watch somebody play Monopoly? Like, you'd be like, that's stupid. Why would we want to watch people play Monopoly? Like, even chess. I love chess, but I'm not going to watch other people play chess. Like, oh, this is let's watch somebody watch a movie. Let's not watch the movie. Let's just look at people as they're looking at the movie. Can't be me. Couldn't be me. Can't do it. It is 100% a me problem, but it is. All right, this is the big one. I was thinking about this one. It says, if Nintendo and Sony had partnered on PlayStation, would gaming be better today or worse than it currently is? 20% said better, 48% said worse, and 32% said about the same. I think if Nintendo and Sony had partnered up, gaming would be way worse. You watch people wrestle, but that's like watching a movie, right? It's like I watch movies because I'm being entertained by the story and stuff. That's why I watch wrestling. Right? It's not a real sport. It's in no way real. Yeah. It's okay for you, Tony. You buy every game under the sun or get it sent to you for free. We watch people play games and decide if we can part with our money or not. Well, that's fair, I guess. I didn't think of it that way, but when you put it that way, I get it. But yeah, I think if Sony had partnered with Nintendo, gaming would be way worse. Way worse. Could you imagine a Nintendo PlayStation, right? A Nintendo PlayStation. PlayStation, a lot of the games that PlayStation was known for, I don't think Nintendo would have been okay with those games being on the system, right? Sure, you still might have had your Crash Bandicoots and your, maybe your Metal Gear Solid, maybe. But a lot of the Japanese games, a lot of the more fan servicey type things that were on the PlayStation 2. I don't think that would have passed the mustard with the Nintendo of back then, right? Let's see. And you got to think if Nintendo went down the PlayStation route, then they wouldn't have gone down the route that led us to the Switch, right? So I think, and then at the same time, would we have gone down the Sony route? Would God of War had been on the Nintendo PlayStation, right? Would Sony have made their own game studio? Because with Nintendo, right? With Sony having the backing of Nintendo, would they have just defaulted to the Nintendo making games and not Sony, Santa Monica, and all that? Would Twisted Metal have even came out? How would this have affected Microsoft, right? Them entering the field. They did let Resident Evil 2 on the 64, though. That's true. Sega did. Sony did what Sega failed to do: make gaming cool for teenagers. That's what I'm saying, right? Like, would the PlayStation, would the Nintendo PlayStation still have been targeted towards the teenage market, or would it have been targeted toward the kid market? Look at Nintendo right now; it's still considered a kiddie game platform. That's what I'm saying. So you got to imagine, like people were like, oh yeah, you would just get all the same. No, but you wouldn't, because there was certain franchises and stuff that maybe might not have been able to be on PlayStation. And then would Microsoft had looked at a Nintendo PlayStation and say, hey, we could compete with that? Or would they have been like, no? Would there be room for a Microsoft? Would Microsoft have picked up some of those old other consoles? Being that there's less competition, would Sega still have survived, right? Sega being the other console, right? Whose fault was it that the partnership between Sony and Nintendo fell through, and why? It was Nintendo, from my understanding. I think they said something about they didn't really think it was going to do well. They still were into the way they were building it, the carts and stuff. So I mean, could have been weird. Could have been weird. Yes. I mean, it goes back to 1988 when they were going to have a joint venture between Nintendo and Sony. This is according to Wikipedia. So, who knows? Who knows? I think we would be in a completely different gaming landscape. Could you imagine? We might have a PlayStation Switch. Could you imagine that? A Nintendo Switch, but it's like PlayStation, like a PS4. We would have got that. Oh man! Then we might have gotten Skyrim on the Switch, like right at fucking launch. They saw Sega CD and 32X failing and got nervous. I think that could have been part of it. There would have been no GTA on Nintendo. That's what I'm saying. Like, see, there's things like that, like GTA. Would Rockstar have gone away? Would they still exist? Would we be denied all Rockstar games, or would Rockstar have found a new home? Right? Because what? When did Sega go out of business? The Sega Saturn launched in 1995. And then the Dreamcast. Would the Dreamcast, see there it is right there, right? Would the Dreamcast have picked up those franchises that Nintendo, PlayStation would have missed out on? Could you imagine right now we could be in a world where Sega survived, right? Just off the fact that the franchises that Nintendo felt were too adult to be on their system would have went to Sega. We have like a Sega Santa Monica where they're building like God of War and fucking we would have GTA on your Dreamcast. And then Nintendo going off in the CD route. No Vita. It would have been like a Nintendo Vita, a Nintendo PSP. Like that whole it'd be a weird world. It'd be a weird world. Sega could have been king. Could you imagine that? And I think, from my understanding, after Nintendo had turned down Sony, I think they went to Sega, and Sega also turned them down. So there's that. Someone's got to do a whole timeline and like a whole alternate reality, alternate history, a world where Nintendo and Sony partnered. All right. Last bit of business here is the channel members. Feel free to ask me anything. Ask me anything. I got only two comments. Come on, guys. Come on. We have how many members? Let's go through the members. We have currently 13 members. And only 2 of you asked questions. Of course, Haunted Whips still dominating top of the charts. He's been our longest standing member. Then Potion Sword Run, Aston Vandal, Aaron Warlorder, Finbar Saunders, all in the 6-month club. 6-month club for these 5 fine gentlemen. And then in the 5-month club, we got Sweet and Tender Hooligan and Tommy Uyamiko. Adam Wilson, Hugh Super J, Justy Views are in the 4-month club. Carla Acosta, Miss Susie, 2 months, and 56K warning. Barely, the young boy of the group. 10 days into membership for 56K. Come on, guys. We got to get them numbers up. We got to get those memberships up. At one point, we had like 40 members. How did we get down? How did we lose so many? In May of this year, we had 40 members. We've dropped all the way down. Come on. To 13. Got to get them numbers up. Got to get them numbers up. Be a member. If Sega comes back, I'd show harder than the Amigos. They could always make a comeback. Could you imagine if Sega bought Intellivision, the Sega Amico? You could play your Sega game, new Sonic game on your Amico. All right. What did you guys ask this week? Let me sort these comments by newest. Finbar asks, when are we going to see those fancy new member badges? Come on, Frog, get your shit together. When? I don't know. We've had some turnover in staff. We've had some issues. I am working on it. I got to reach out to Bianca so she could set me up with some artist. Because whenever I go looking for an artist, I always get scammed. Sure, Sega Amico killed my childhood some more. A Sega Amico. Could you imagine that? Rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Sega Amico. Seg Amico. SEG Amico. 56K warning says, when are we going to see the Intellivision Amico console successor you promised? Come on, Frog, get your shit together. Why is everybody telling me to get my shit together? I told you, I looked into it. Not cost effective at the moment. Not cost effective. We're working on something. When I sell my book, I'm still working on my great fantasy novel. It's going to be awesome. When I get that published and I make a whole bunch of money from that, I will parlay that money into a gaming system. Sega Amico would be hard to show for, but I'd do it. I fix it. Give me my channel rights when I get back. I'll stuff some military ranks in there for everyone. Nah. I don't know about all that. Maybe. You got to remember, Tony, there was the disk drive for the SNES in Japan that synced with the satellite daily. There was. That's right. Satellaview. Man, could you imagine the Sega channel? I remember my friend had the Sega channel back in the day. That didn't work for shit. It always tried to download the games and never work. But could you imagine? They were so ahead of their time. Could you imagine that now? Could you imagine a channel where you just download your games? It was the future. Still going, trying to get Junior Beefy asleep. Keep talking. Hey. We do not put people to sleep here. We've been going 2 hours and 42 minutes solo. This is unprecedented. Sega channel worked well for me. Well, you had good internet. Sorry. We didn't. My uncle used SimCity to get me into computers. It worked. SimCity was the weirdest game. SimCity for the SNES, right? Loved it. Loved it as a kid. Loved it. But when I look back and I think we were a bunch of what year did that come out? Because I want to be accurate about this. SimCity on SNES came out what? Look this shit up. Come on. SimCity on the NES was released in where is it at? Come on. 19 was it ported over in like 1989, 1990? Damn. Yeah, 1990. I want to say. So, in 1990, I was like 9. Could you imagine 9-year-old Tony and his 9-year-old friends are running around talking about fucking SimCity and trading like tricks and secrets on how to get the city built better, and like, oh man, did you unlock this? Did you unlock the new highway? Have you seen the Mario statue in SimCity? Like, can you imagine that? Like, I wouldn't even think that sounds so dorky just talking about it, that we were like so hyped. Everyone in the neighborhood, fucking SimCity. It was a weird time. But I love that game. Love SimCity. SimCity 2000 let me down so much. The water management was like way too involved. All right. 2 hours and 45 minutes. I think this has been a good show. I've talked long enough. I got things to do. So please check out the new merch. Buy something from the merch shop. YouTube is offering me the ability to integrate a merch shop, a store, with the YouTube channel. So we might do that. We might not. I don't know. We'll think about it. I got to talk to Finbar and figure out something. But until next time, as always, love, peace, booty grease. I'm out this bitch.